Welcome to the meeting of Wednesday, February 28th at 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Jason, are you here? I don't know if I can see everybody.
Oh, yes, present.
I can't tell whose names are what, so it's really hard for me to do the roll call. So,
Maybe Ash could help with the roll call.
Ash, could you help me?
Would you like? Okay, yeah. So Jason,
Here?
Todd,
Here.
Naisha, here. And we have the other side. Jenna here, and Adrian here, and Brown Sparks
Here.
and Moon
Here.
and then we also have Schaefer, who's not present, and Amos, who is not present.
Thank you. On my agenda, it says election of new co-chairs.
That was taken off of the agenda that got posted. That was the old one from last time. So I think the most recent one, my apologies, says approval of the agenda as the second thing.
I don't know where that one is.
You can post it in the chat, remember?
I have it pulled up. I could forward it to you, Cami, if you want.
All right, that would be really nice if you could do that for me, Sophia. I mean, Patty, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. I just forwarded you the message that I was going off of. Pretty sure this is the right one.
Sorry, my cat just knocked down my iPad. It's all happening all at one time. So,
Your cat wants to run the meeting.
yeah, my cat is in charge of it all. I cannot find it because it's on my phone. So,
Could you put it in the chat for her? It won't let me upload anything to the chat. It has to be like some sort of Dropbox.
Like a hyperlink to the file in our drive.
Yeah, I can look for that.
Okay, I think I just put it in the chat. I don't know if the link will work, but maybe.
It does. Yeah,
the
that's
thing
the most.
I'm doing it on my phone and I don't ever use my phone, and so it just shows like the same. All right.
Maybe you could share it on the screen, Ash.
All right, approval of
Ash, you can see
agenda.
it that way.
Approval of agenda.
Or you could just tell her what's next on the agenda as we go.
She just moved to approval.
I second the motion, approval of agenda. Oh, I'd like to make a motion that, we move agenda item, 7A, the letter asking the city council to consider bringing forward and passing a ceasefire resolution to after 3 and before 4. 7A in between 3 and 4. Because of the combination of the urgency of this issue where there are lives at stake every moment that a ceasefire is not declared, and also because of the urgency in that this is going to be considered possibly in the city council meeting tonight at 6:30 meeting following this meeting, and to respect our guest's time, who is here to speak on this issue.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Do I need to take a vote?
Yes. Do you want me to call the names if you can't see anyone?
Yes, please. Thank you, Ash.
Um, Jason,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Naishla,
Yes?
Jenna,
Yes.
Adrian,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
and Brown Sparks, Kenmore.
Yes.
And that passes 7-0.
All right. Approval of memorandum minutes.
I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 No objections? Anyone? None heard. The motion passes. All right. New business letter asking city council to consider bringing forward and passing a ceasefire resolution.
Oh, yeah, I could speak to the topic, so, yeah, we shared the letter, that, Kamala and I are asking, or we're sponsoring the letter to the CAPS Commission, asking the commission to sign this letter to send to the city council. So I'm not gonna really talk any more about it, other than what's already in the letter. And ask if there are any questions about, the letter, or why we're asking, everyone to sign it. So as far as I know, the resolution, the ceasefire resolution will be presented to the council, at the meeting tonight. And if this letter passes, I plan to attend the meeting, possibly Cammie, if she's able to attend as well, and present the letter to the council. And, we also have a visitor here, Hamayatola, from CJPPI, the Coalition for, Justice and Peace in Palestine and Israel.
For justice in Palestine Israel.
Yeah. And, they are sponsoring the resolution along with BPAC, Bloomington Peace Action Coalition.
That's NJDP, so there's.
Yeah, there's several organizations sponsoring the resolution. And so I would like to, ask if anyone has any comments, questions, or discussions about the letter or the resolution at this time that either I or our guests might be able to answer.
Can I have the spelling of your name for the minutes?
Yes, it's H like Henry, E like Ernest, M like Mary, A like apple, Y like yellow, A like apple, T like town, U like under, double L, A like apple, H like Henry. I know that was very long. And my last name, do you need my last name? No, okay.
No, I didn't catch it.
Oh, do you need my, okay, SHAHRA, N like Nancy, I.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to get it right for the minutes.
I guess, can I ask if everyone's had a chance to read it yet? Have they already?
That's a good question. Has everyone had a chance to read the resolution and the letter?
I haven't, I mean, I'd be happy to hear like a brief summary.
An overview?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that if you'd like.
Sure, of the resolution?
Yes.
The resolution or the letter, both?
Both, whatever.
So you might be better for the letter.
Yeah.
I can speak of the resolution.
Yeah. If you wanna go first, then talk about, because, okay, well, so the letter is in support of a resolution which is, follows many similar such resolutions that have been passed by city councils all around the nation, to address, to ask our city council to support, a ceasefire, in the conflict that is taking place in the Middle East. And I will let my guests speak more to the resolution, but the letter itself, really directly relates why the commission views this resolution and the events taking place as a threat and a concern to safety in our local community. So the letter, that our commission is going to be supporting really ties it together. So if you haven't had a chance to read it, maybe we should just read the letter in the meeting, Todd? Because I don't think you can vote on it without having read it. Or would you like to read it yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
I think you want, I can follow the proposal, and would it make sense to read the proposal first and then the letter, or vice versa?
No.
I mean, if I can,
On page like 5.
yeah, how about have a summary and then, I can read it later, I just.
So that was the summary of the letter. Do you want to give a summary of the resolution?
Yeah, my pleasure. So basically what the resolution asks for is, first of all, the position, we're asking the city representatives to also hold this view that we oppose any form of racism, bigotry, etc. Whether it be Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, whether it relate to religions, any kind of discrimination. So that's kind of first and foremost. So this is not driven by any other motivations other than a humanitarian one. So, and then secondly, it's really about the notion that all human life is precious and it should be respected and protected, and especially civilians. Obviously, there are armed conflicts that can occur, but there are rules of engagement that need to be followed. And so really, civilians, though, should always be protected within whatever practical means are possible. And so there's a big concern because what has been happening in Gaza has been utterly devastating in terms of the society there. I mean, we're talking about mass destruction of infrastructure, buildings, and it's not military targets. These are civilian structures, schools, even hospitals, pretty much everything. And so, and also the number of deaths has gone to such high numbers. The number of children has already exceeded 12,000. You know, and children are innocent. It's never justified to kill children, but even that 70% of the population, they are women and children. So we're talking about they're the ones being devastated right now. And even then, they can be elderly and civilians, parents. So wars cannot be waged under pretext that, okay, we're defending ourselves when civilians are being massacred in such large quantities. And so the devastation is much more than that. Because not only that, but humanitarian aid has been cut off, food has been cut off, water has been cut off, medicine has been cut off, electricity, fuel. So even the hospitals are not able to operate, the ones that haven't been destroyed, and all of them have been attacked from what I understand, at least partially or completely demolished. So it's just a humanitarian crisis, catastrophe. And so the people there are really suffering, and it's expected that many will die of famine and disease. It's just a horrific situation. And then, of course, 70,000 plus have been injured or maimed with some of them permanent effects. And so the situation is so bad that even women with C-sections, they've been forced to do that without anesthesia. Children are having their limbs cut off without anesthesia. It's just utterly gruesome and unjustifiable. So really, it's a catastrophe there. And then the disease, the people have been pushed from one place to another. They're told, evacuate this area because we're going to bomb it. They go somewhere else for safety. They say, okay, we're going to bomb that, bomb it. And now they've been pushed into like the very bottom border of the Gaza Strip. So it really condensed with them. So, and then humanitarian aid has also been cut off. So what we're asking is with UNRWA, that's the primary UN body that was providing humanitarian relief to keep the population alive. that has been cut off as well. And so it's kind of a very dire situation. So what we're asking, is really, it doesn't benefit to continue to kill and destroy a civilization. I mean, it's genocide. And basically the International Court of Justice, they took the case of genocide. So it's gonna be, Israel tried to say it is not, but there was plausible evidence to suggest it, and they took the case because clearly the facts demonstrated so. And so now it's going to be, going to trial under the International Court of Justice. So really, from our perspective, what we're calling, I mean, we cannot control what the federal government is doing, but it's really important for us as citizens to kind of say, you know, we're not complicit in what's happening. We're not okay with children being massacred, women being killed, people being starved to death, and the numbers just keep getting worse and worse. And the other aspect of it is the detrimental effects of this is not gonna disappear right away. We're talking about mental trauma for children. And I've seen some of the videos, it's utterly heartbreaking just to see these children, you know, a little girl freaking out when she hears thunder because she thinks they're gonna die. You know, kids, one kid, very small, his entire family is killed. He lays down in the road and wants to get run over so he can join his family. Because he just like, that's the world he knows, right? And it's just like, so even UNICEF described it as the entire population, they're the children, they're going through mental trauma. They're gonna need serious mental counseling help. So it's just gotten so bad that there's no justification for it. So what we're asking the city, at least at a local level, and hopefully if we can get enough cities, as not to mention, like with Chicago having done it in Seattle, other different cities, then it'll put more pressure on the government to bring about a permanent ceasefire. And unfortunately, our government was the only one that vetoed a ceasefire at the UN. This was just this past week. And so, but unless we put pressure on the government there, it seems like they're not gonna bring about this end to this devastation that's going on. And so us as individuals, I think it's important for us to make it clear, because the history is not gonna look at this kindly. You know, a lot of questions come up when these kinds of devastations happen. People are always asking the others like, hey, this happened under your watch. What were you doing about it? Why didn't you stop it? Right? And so it's really important for us to be able to say, one, because we're humans, we want to protect our own humanity, but two, to have in the historical record, evidence and proof we can show to our grandkids, our kids and others, like, hey, we tried to do what we could. That we asked for a ceasefire, we were protecting humanity, we were trying to protect the children, and that will be our alibi. To say like, yes, we actually were doing the right thing. And I think it's really important to do that, but unless we put this pressure from a coalition of people on the ground, grassroots, people who care about what's going on, you know, we wouldn't want this happening here in Bloomington in one day, let alone now it's been 4.5 months and ongoing. So really, that's what it's calling for. It's calling an end, immediate and permanent end to this fighting. It's not really even fighting, it's more one-sided attacks and destruction. Two, to open up humanitarian channels and to ask the Biden administration to help make that happen. And then also the release of hostages, because we've heard of the Israeli hostages that were taken to be exchanged for Palestinian hostages who are much more in number historically. But really, that's what it's calling for, because the war continuing or the attacks continuing are not going to benefit anyone. It just causes more destruction, loss of lives, injuries, psychological trauma, crisis, humanitarian crisis. And so that's what we're asking for. Fair synopsis. I know I added more to it just to provide some background, but
No,
that's.
that was a great synopsis.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you don't feel that you could vote on it, not having read it all, you could always abstain, just so you know, because I know you're a new member.
Sure.
So you know, you can abstain
Yeah.
from votes if you feel that you're not qualified to make a decision.
Sure, I think in the interest of time, I don't think we need to read it, and I would. I just won't vote, but I confidently have the votes to approve, you know, you presenting that to the council. So, thank you for that, and certainly support it, and thank you.
And it is just one page bullet point almost.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a long read. It's a little over a page, but it's not a long read. Any
All
questions?
right.
Any questions or comments about the resolution or the letter implementing them before we vote?
All right. Are we ready to take a vote?
I think so.
Ash, can you
Yes.
help me?
okay. We will have, Jason,
Yes.
Todd,
I abstain.
Najla,
Yes.
Jenna,
Yes.
Adrian,
Yes.
Tamala,
Yes.
and, Patty.
Yes.
Passes 6-0-1.
Enjoy your hour and a half before the council meeting next Thursday.
Well, thank you for inviting me and thank you guys for your time and your efforts to help bring about, a humane and compassionate resolution for the travesty that's going on. So thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
To meet all of you too. I wish the circumstances were better, but it is nice to meet people with compassion and I appreciate everything you guys
Yeah,
do.
well, thank you for sharing your passion here and it's on record now. So,
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, thanks. Take care. I'll let you guys do the rest of your agenda. All
sure.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't have a report as a co-chair. I would like to say that I thought the outreach committee did a wonderful job with their event this weekend. So I don't really have a report as a chair.
We can
And the
barely
other-
see Annie.
Sorry, I can't really.
Yeah, that's better. Perfect.
I don't really have a report as a co-chair. I thought that the event this weekend went really well. I think the outreach committee did a really wonderful job. And I thought that we made really great connections. So the other co-chair is not here. Ash, is Sophia gone now for permanently or
I'll need to confirm with her that she is, leaving, but I believe what she mentioned was that she was going to be overseas starting in March. So I think she won't be present at the next meeting, but I will confirm that.
all right? I was a little confused by the okay.
If she confirms with me that she's no longer on the commission due to her time overseas, then I can, at your request, I can put on the agenda for an election of an additional co-chair after the next meeting, if you'd like.
All right. Are there any individual members that have any reports?
I personally thought the film was very well made and very eye-opening, especially the fact, and I've actually talked to several people about it after. The number that sticks with me is the LA Police Department, their budget is $3 billion. And it goes out to like $7.8 million a day, or it's probably not correct, like specifically, but that really stuck with me, and like just a small amount of that brought towards like homelessness in LA, drug addiction, mental health. That could make a big difference out of their budget.
Their budget? Yeah.
But yeah, the whole message as well, especially at the end of getting to know your neighbors and some of it I never thought about before, of how we're trained to call 911 in every situation. And a lot of people aren't aware of the resources that you can avoid that in some sense and use other resources that are specific. So yeah, I really did think that was, and the Q&A as well, where some people also, I saw like the city council, wasn't someone from the city council there? I can't remember. Yeah, and they were asking questions to them, sort of, but yeah, no, I really did find it very beneficial.
I'd just like to piggyback on that also and say that I thought the panel was great. You guys did a really amazing job, and it was nice to hear from all of the experts and also Cami and Najla. So I just thought it was a really fantastic event. I've heard a lot of positive feedback from other people too. So really awesome job to the outreach committee.
Thank you. Um, committees, the reparation committee does not have a report right now. We will hopefully be meeting at the end of March.
But the reparations committee is open to new members at this time, if anyone would like to join.
Does the outreach committee have anything to report on?
Yes, I do have a report for the outreach committee. First of all, Liz Granat, Director of CJAM Community Justice and Mediation Center of Bloomington, visited our last outreach committee meeting in February. And she spoke with us about helping us to plan events for the Bloomington Community Safety Roundtable that the outreach committee is assembling to help inform and advise the commission on its continuing of the alternative public safety work. And we reached out to her. The committee decided to reach out to CJAM because we've worked with them in the past on events. They helped us produce the town hall last year, the public safety town hall that was very well attended and well received. And really helped us, kick off the rest of the work, towards doing the stakeholder outreach and then the report. So that was really sort of like, I guess you could say a big launch of kickoff of the event of this work. And she said that I think she didn't think that it's something that necessarily CJAM itself would facilitate officially, but that she personally is willing to offer sort of coaching, consulting with all of us on the committee to help us facilitate those events. So that's exciting and a positive example of collaboration with local organizations. And so I think we're all excited to continue that conversation with her. And yes, I also agree that this weekend's events went very well. The film was somewhat sparsely attended, maybe 40 people attended. But I mean, for 4 p.m. on a Saturday and a documentary on a, topic that's sort of, altogether, the people who were there were very engaged. I think everyone who attended stayed for the Q&A. So that is even more impressive than just to get people to come and, see a free movie, I guess. And yeah, it was a very engaging follow-up Q&A. I think everyone in the Q&A was like really geared up to hear more, and that helped attendance at the panel the next day. And I also thought the panel was just amazing. I personally learned a lot. I took a lot of notes, but then I lost them, of course, in the excitement of everything. And so I'm gonna be watching the transcripts and like taking more notes on what everyone said, because a lot of the panelists had very specific suggestions for us, and that follow up perfectly with suggestions we had made in the report, like Amber Sherman mentioned, some very specific proposals that she's gotten passed in Memphis that very specifically speak to some of the things that we had suggested in our report. And so I feel like there's a lot of ideas that can come out of this event, to, really help, take a lot of those ideas and make them happen here in Bloomington. So I have followed up with all that. And so I do want to say thank you to everyone who attended the events and everyone who helped. And I know you couldn't, I know you really wanted to, but everyone who helped plan and everything, and who just supported us in general. This was a pretty big, tall this was a pretty big event for the commission, and so, thanks for everyone for pulling together to make it happen. Much appreciated. And I really think it's gonna pay off. I think that, I think, so there were 2 council members in attendance. Media from WFHB attended. They also have been asking for the video, so, once it's available, the video is actually not processed yet. So once the video is processed and available for sharing, we will be sharing it with local media. And I think this is really gonna pay off for our commission, as far as both like locally and, helping the commission to be recognized in our community as sort of, an important voice in public safety. And also, one of the major goals of these events was for the commission to build a coalition around this work in the community. Because we recognize we're not the experts of this topic, and frankly, we don't need just experts. We need everyone in the community, especially those most impacted by these policies, to be directly involved in shaping them. And so the coalition building, I think, was a huge, huge success, not only in like the partners and sponsors, organizations, but also like just the people who attended the events. A lot of the sort of change makers and people who are leading and at the forefront of this work did attend the event. So this is a really great opportunity for us to follow up with each of them throughout the year and say, and really like delve deeper into some of these, developing some of our ideas. I have followed up with all the panelists, partners, and sponsors to say thank you individually to them and to communicate the commission's intention and hope that we can continue working with them in our work, possibly joining the roundtable or in other ways. Specifically, I think a lot of the panelists could make good guest speakers to the commission meetings to, talk for 20, 25 minutes about their organization and how it impacts community safety and how we might collaborate. It's something our commission has done in the past to sort of help cement relationships. And in that spirit, the School of Public Health's Office of Public Health Practice, Kathleen Sobiak, was planning to tonight, but she had to cancel for next month, so she will be attending next month. And as a reminder for anyone who didn't know, she's going to be talking about the fact that she's teaching a class in public health policy, and she's assigning her students to do a project on our commission's alternative public safety work in that class. And that's really all I know at this point. So that's very exciting, and she'll be visiting us in March, maybe with some of her students to talk about that. And they were also some of the sponsors of the event. She actually helped us get the venue for the panel. So she's a big friend of the commission. But also I was hoping that we might invite other of the panelists and or sponsors of these events to work with our commission as well. And we'll be doing that more in the outreach committee, but I just wanted to report out to the full commission, the committee's intention to follow up with all the people that helped put these events on to collaborate further. And we also plan to follow up in the outreach committee fairly soon with council members. I did attach some local news articles that are regarding the current council members' positions on public safety, and the committee plans to sort of parse some of that information and use it to inform our outreach, basically. But I'm very hopeful that especially like the council members who attended our panel will be very highly informed of our community safety work and hopefully support it. So we also plan to do that, and The roundtable currently has 7 people signed up.
Oh, wow,
And-
that's great.
Yeah, right, just from our events, just from talking about it, and we obviously, we actually haven't done any specific, like, kind of marketing of that really, and so I think what we would do is probably in the outreach committee is follow up soon with all of the contacts the commission has and really encourage people one-on-one to join that as well, so. And that's about it. Yeah, we hope to, hear from Mayor Thompson on the letter that the commission approved and sent to her, the outreach committee wrote and sent to her. And we have not yet, and we're hoping that she will be, meeting with us soon before we design the roundtable, but if not, I think we plan to go forward anyway with that, so. Oh, yeah, that's it for the outreach committee. It also is accepting new members at this time, if anyone who's not on the outreach committee would like to join.
All right. Ash, do you have any reports?
I have a couple of things I wanted to mention. So the video processing, yes, I spoke with someone in the city who told me that the video of the panel is still having technical difficulties being uploaded to YouTube, but that they're working on it. So it's gonna get up as soon as they can. The other thing I wanted to clarify was about the ceasefire resolution at the council meeting. So there's been some confusion. Currently, there isn't any sort of resolution sponsored by a council member on the agenda. However, it sounds like what is happening is a group is coming to council tonight to present this and say, council, can you do something about this? Those two are different things. Not entirely sure how it's going to play out, but that's kind of what it looks like. It doesn't mean that something won't be on the agenda at some point in the future, but there isn't a council member sponsored resolution on the agenda for tonight. It looks like someone from public comment is going to come and present that. The other thing that I want to just briefly touch on is the special committee on council processes. This is one of the agenda items. It was added by my office because the council special committee on council processes is asking all boards and commissions to take a look at the code sections governing their commission or board and ask questions of, are those boards and commissions drifting from their mission over the course of time. So if you have any suggestions on that, they're going to be meeting, I believe, sometime next week or early the week after. They've asked for this feedback since the fall. Not having feedback is fine, but they wanted to know, by not having feedback, does that mean you have no changes to suggest? So I wanted to let you all know that that should be on your radar. You can let me know if you have any suggestions. I can speak more to that when it comes up. And I believe the only other thing I wanted to mention was that you all at one point passed a resolution asking for the city to make itself, I think, like a sanctuary type city for trans youth. I wanted to give an update that I believe the Seventh Circuit issued an order yesterday staying the injunction, meaning that the ban on gender affirming care for trans youth is in effect in the state, but things could change. The only other thing I wanted to do is change the layout of this owl because it's on me and I need to change it. We are all still here, but I'm moving this and I apologize, but I want it to be able to focus on other folks. There we go. That's it for me.
All right, do we need to take a brief recess?
Did we have public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just, do we have anyone for public comment? Ash?
On Zoom, there's no one, as a participant who's from the public. I don't believe there's anyone in person at the moment.
Cool.
All right. And that was a no on a brief recess. All right. The request for feedback for the Common Council Special Committee on council processes. I don't really know, like, was there a form that we're supposed to fill out, Ash, or?
So I don't believe that there's like a form. The question is kind of take a look, and I put the code section in the packet. Take a look at the code section governing caps. And this is being asked of all boards and commissions, and this commission is fairly new, so some of these questions might not necessarily, the answers might be, well, of course not. But the big question is caps drifting from its mission within code over the course of time, or does the code match what you all do? I think it asked you to take a look at some of the powers and duties. When I took a look at it, a lot of what you are doing is matching what is in the code. The processes, the special committee on council processes is trying to hear from folks on boards and commissions to see, if their practices are in alignment with the code, if changes need to be made to the code to align with practices. I think if you want to give if you don't have any feedback to give, if you say, what's currently written in code is fine, we're doing it, we like it, that's fine, as long as they know that that's what you think. And if you do have suggestions, get them to me as soon as you can, so I can relay it to the committee. I have my own thoughts on possible suggestions. Let me know if this makes sense, but I think if any, the best suggestions that I could possibly see would be procedural rather than substantive. So, like how many meetings you have, or how often you have to meet a year. It sounds like, if you're wanting to adjust those things, those kinds of suggestions are just as valid as substantive ones, but it sounds like from what I've been taking a look at the code, and it sounds like substantively, like what you do really does match up with what the code says you're supposed to do. But thinking about, for example, 11 members, is that number too big? I don't think, since my time at the city, this commission has been fully, full with 11 members. I think at this point there's none, but I don't think, it's been that way. I think another thing in code says officers shall be elected annually. This doesn't happen. Should that be changed to reflect current practices? Another thing is, meetings are required to be once a month unless you cancel it, and at least 4 times a year. Is that written to give you what you all want to do? Is that how you like doing that practice? So, any other kind of changes you want to see. They're interested in hearing from you in terms of how that's been working for you on the ground, in meetings. And so just get your thoughts to me. I can double check and see. I know that they're trying to get their next meeting on the calendar for probably next week, but I don't know if it's on the calendar, or maybe the week after. So soon. So if you have thoughts, please get them to me as soon as you can.
My only thought is that this is the same committee, I believe, who would be concerning this, is that, that I would appreciate it, possibly other people on the commission, if the committee would create an official process or a mechanism by which it would prefer commissions such as ours to do outreach with other city commissions for our future work. Since we have not heard a response to our request on that was made back in November. I personally love the way this commission is set up. I wouldn't change anything about it. Besides that.
Yeah, so that's what they want to know. Do you want to change things? So by not responding, does that mean no? Or if by not responding, does that mean I need more time to think about it? So.
Sorry, I can't tell. Is someone talking?
No, there's someone in the hallway. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Yeah, the only comment I had about your comments, Ash. I think even though it definitely hasn't been full to my knowledge, that I don't like personally have a problem with having a larger capacity because we want as many people that can be involved to get involved. But I definitely think it would be worthwhile to give comments about now they have left my brain, but the things that you mentioned about like annual officer elections and just making sure that they're aware of what we currently do for the co-chairs and that are I think it's 6 months now, the 6-month rotation. I think that could be a good thing to just make
6
sure that
months?
they're I think we changed it to more than 3, but it might not be 6. I could be remembering that wrong.
I just didn't know.
Um, yeah, and then as to Najla's comment, I think that's something that we've like been wanting to know about for a while. Ash, is it your interpretation that this committee would be the people to make that decision if there would be a formal process for that kind of outreach?
I'm not sure because this committee is a committee of members of the Common Council and outreach with other boards and commissions. There are some boards and commissions that have membership from the administration. So there are rules within different departments which are handled by the administration and not by the council. So I think it's a mix in terms of how, and I say the word rules kind of broadly, because I think it really just depends on what each department is instructing their liaisons to do. I know there is going to be a boards and commissions training this week for staff liaisons on Thursday of this week, so that's tomorrow. So it sounds like they're trying to streamline that process and get that better. But I don't know to what extent, this specific committee has, power over all boards and commissions. I don't think that's true. So I think it really depends on a conversation that's being opened by this committee about, there are different practices between boards and commissions that don't seem like they align. And kind of figuring out what to do next.
Yeah, I mean, and if a natural opportunity comes up to talk about that topic at the training, maybe that could be kind of fun for you. No pressure.
Yeah, if there's participation from the audience, maybe.
Yeah, I would just point out that our commission was unable to do any outreach with other commissions and boards about our weekends events, specifically because the city decided last year in November to tell the other staff liaisons of other boards and commissions not to communicate with us. And when I inquired about our outreach for these weekends events, I was told by certain members in the city to just not do outreach with commissions for that event. So we did not do any. So I would just point out, this is I think a major outstanding problem.
Yes, that seems like a barrier to doing our work.
Like, what was the reasoning behind blocking?
Do you want to speak to that, Ash?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What was the reason for us getting blocked out from talking to other commissions? Like, other commissions being told not to talk to us?
So, I mean, I don't know that they were told not to talk to you. I'm not sure about that. What I know is there were efforts by members of this commission to get in touch with the staff liaisons of other commissions, get on the agendas for those commissions. Some of them said yes, some of them said, why don't you go and come and you can speak during public comment. At some point, there was this piece of advice that folks received, that staff liaisons on some commissions received from someone in the legal department that said, I don't remember the exact language off the top of my head, but it basically said something like, your commission is is put forth only by, people on the common council and not by anyone in the administration. They didn't want to have your items on their agendas.
Specifically, they didn't want other commissions to be allowed to take a vote to endorse our alternative public safety report, which is what they were specifically told not to do.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Najla, it was my understanding that, although obviously it is an outstanding problem, and I definitely agree with that it as originally just contained to the staff liaisons that were employed by the Community Family Resource Department. Is it true that this advice to not do outreach that applies to commissions beyond the commissions stationed by those liaisons, or is it just that we were hoping to do outreach with the Community Family Resource Department's liaisons commissions? Sorry, that was a lot of words. Hopefully that makes sense.
I'm not sure if I exactly understand your question, but
Well, I guess it was my impression, which could be wrong, that the when we have been told to not do outreach, that it was specifically coming from that department in the city or that section of commissions. And I was wondering, is this something that is now like all commissions, or is it still mostly like that group of commissions?
Well, what happened after that, so it was a directive from the legal department to a particular staff liaison. At least 2 staff liaisons who told our commission that they were not going to put it on the agenda because of that legal directive. And then when our commission passed along this development to a council member who is a trained attorney, that council member said they felt this was illegal and overreach of the process by the mayor's office into our commission, which is set up by the council. So our commission then responded by recontacting these same liaisons and asking them to put it on the agenda so that they could take a vote. And at that time, then there was an intervention by the Department of Community and Family Resources, because it turned out all of the staff liaisons, those 12 commissions that we did outreach with, were employed in that department. And they all and then that department specifically instructed all of them to stop talking to us, to not communicate with our commission about this topic. And then as far as, and then our commission specifically asked for someone from the legal department to come visit our commission to speak to us about this and why this happened and how it might be corrected. And I do remember the exact words that directive used. And it said that our outreach with those commissions had been inappropriate and that the topic was irrelevant to the other commissions. And our commission had specifically chosen 12 commissions that are extremely relevant, including Commission on the Status of Black Males, Latino Affairs, Accessibility, the ones you would think are relevant. And anyway, and then after this, our commission officially asked for a visit from the legal department in November, I think, to speak to us about this. And they eventually replied in the next week or two to say they weren't going to come visit us. And we have not heard a thing since then. And we have asked for follow-up about this. I've specifically passed along messages to the council office, that our commission is still waiting and eager to hear a response and a development on this. So I think actually, didn't Steven say he's gonna meet with, someone from the legal office soon to find out what the current status of this
That's,
is?
I believe he did.
Yeah, so, Corporation Council changed as of from last year to this year. So he is, I believe, in touch with Corporation Council Rice about, procedures, reports and commissions and what that's gonna look like. I did find the language, and the language that was used, basically what it said, per City of Bloomington Legal Department advising boards and commissions are not to place the report on the agendas or vote on it because the report is authored solely by a commission of the legislative branch, asking commissions of the executive branch to take action before the legislative body that oversees CAPS. Before the legislative body that oversees CAPS has taken any action is inappropriate. That said, CAPS members are welcome to attend any board or commission meeting as a member of the public and speak about this report. However, it should not be placed on agendas or voted on. That responsibility falls to the city council, the body that appointed the entire CAPS commission. That particular piece of language was not from the legal department. It said so in those emails, but it was a confusion because I spoke with someone from the legal department who said, no, we've been going back and forth about what to do about this. And we, some people believe that, some people don't, but that's not something that the legal department is issuing. So, CFRD kind of took that, and thought that that was official advice to use and said, that to, folks on the CAPS commission when, you all wanted to do that outreach. That's pretty much
And that policy has not been changed to our knowledge, and no one from the city has told us that anything's changed on that since then.
This has been in effect for how long?
That was in November. And
Well,
our
I feel like
commission.
The issue is almost just that there isn't a policy.
Well, and more specifically, when we simply just tried to do it without there being a policy, we were very aggressively shut down in our work. So. Yeah, so anyway.
So I guess that's our response, Ash.
yeah. And if any other thoughts about, the code section or any of that, please feel free to let me know and I can pass those on, but I was taking notes just now, so.
Our commission code is fire.
All right. The letter on consideration for reappointment of CAPS member. We had an issue where our CAPS, well, it deals with what we were just talking about. When our commission was being treated unfairly and unequally compared to the other commissions, one of our commissioners spoke out on behalf of our commission, and then they were harmed because of that. And so our commission wrote out in support of that commissioner. And so that's what the letter was about that we wrote last month. And that's what this is about, basically, that issue that we just talked about, the letter that I'm talking about, the letter in consideration for reappointment of the CAPS member.
Tammy, could you, sorry, this is, I think I'm just like not really super aware of this situation. And I was wondering if you could explain what is being referenced in the first sentence, the misrepresentative depictions.
We had an issue where there was a member that was up for reappointment, and there were some issues where it had been said that they weren't working on behalf of the CAPS commission with their work. And they
Oh.
really were. And
With what issues?
like they were, that they thought that they were just working on behalf of themselves and that they weren't actually
Mm.
doing the work on behalf, like representing all of the CAPS Commission when they were sending
Mhm.
the letters in support of like trying to get it passed, that we wanted the CAPS Commission as a whole to be seen in a better light, like how we were trying to get it done for our communication, that we were saying that the CAPS Commission isn't being seen in the same light as the rest of the commissions when we're trying to do outreach with the other boards and commissions.
So this
And-
is specifically about the when we were sending communications to
Right,
for the
Other board-
other commissions getting on agendas, that
Right.
those um it was represented that reaching out to get on the agendas of these other commissions was not sanctioned by the commission. Is that what the misrepresentation is?
right. Well,
Okay.
by doing that, it caused that member harm. They were saying that that member was not, that they didn't have it. They didn't do it on behalf of the commission. They didn't do it on behalf of CAPS. They were trying
Okay.
to say that they might have been doing it on their own, but that CAPS Commission, we had them do that outreach work.
Mm-hmm.
And we had them try and do outreach with those other boards to get, you know what I mean? Because we were trying to
Yeah.
do that as a whole, and they were trying to say that maybe that person was trying to do it just based on doing it on for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And what was you said harm? What was the harm that occurred?
When they were going up for reappointment, the board, the city council, some of the members thought that perhaps that person stepped outside of the bounds of doing that work for the commission and was trying to do it just for
Mm.
themselves. And so we were saying that no, we knew the whole time that this person was doing that work and trying to work to improve the communication for the commission.
Mm-hmm.
And that there were emails proving like along the way that that person was working for the commission and that we knew what was going on the whole time.
Mm. And when was this what meeting was this letter signed at?
It was done over a weekend. It was an emergency situation because we found out about it and there was supposed to be like 3 days before that person's
Oh.
reappointment.
Before like the interview or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we did it over like an emergency weekend, but we waited for the official letter to be done at this meeting.
Okay. And who is this letter is being sent to the
It was
interview
sent to the
committee?
account. Yeah, it was sent to the interview committee. It'll be sent officially to the interview committee. We sent it to part of the I think it was council committee B or something like that.
So has it already, so this situation has kind of like already went down?
Yeah, it's already died down now.
Oh, okay. So is it like resolved
Yes,
or?
pretty
Okay.
much it's been resolved because it was just to say that the commission knew that this was going on, that this person was doing this outreach work, that they were trying to get. Sorry, my cat is trying to rub against my iPad. Sorry, that we knew that this person was doing outreach work and that it was on behalf of our commission.
I think
That was-
Patty's asking if the committee took the vote, and the answer is no. I think the vote
Oh.
was delayed. They had thought they would take the vote at that date, and then it was delayed. I think they didn't have time, if that's what you're asking, so.
Yeah, thank you, Nijla.
Sorry.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm asking so many questions. I think I was just like one of the people that wasn't aware of this, but I just want to make sure that I understand the letter if we're voting on it. I guess like I'm curious what like
Why is
so
it necessary? I'm sorry, like, I don't know if that's what you're trying to get to, but like, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like, that's what I'm wondering at least, like, is this person prohibited from joining the commission? Like, has anyone tried to prevent them from doing it? And like, is there true prejudice against them or us?
That is actually what I was trying to understand. I would honestly prefer to like learn more specific information about the misrepresentations, like what the specific actions were or how those misrepresentations were made to these council members. Like I would love to hear just, well, not love, love is the wrong word. I would just like to hear more specific information about what happened. Yeah, Eileen, I think like it appears that maybe everyone but me and Todd and Najla have signed this, but if we're voting on it now, I would like to hear what happened.
All right, well, I don't know if the person involved wants to share the specifics more. But just basically it involves them doing outreach work, and during their time trying to do outreach work for the city, and involved incidents between them and other members of the council, and it caused issues, and it felt like that person was being singled out, and it caused detrimental harm to them. And to make sure that before they went up for their reappointment, we wanted the city to be sure that they knew that that person wasn't doing that outreach on their own, because there was some question by people on the city, and we wanted them to know that that research and outreach was done on behalf of the commission, and not that person doing it on their own, that person
Yes.
doing that, and that the commission had knowledge of it before it was done.
But what were the incidents?
And I'm curious what that reappointment is too.
To this commission.
So the
So
reappointment.
they're not currently a member?
No, they're currently a member.
They
They're
are
supposed to be
currently a
doing
member.
Outreach for the committee,
Okay.
and there was a worry that they weren't representing the whole committee, that they were just doing the outreach
Sure.
themselves without informing us. But they were, so that's what this letter is in support of,
I
is
see.
what it's saying, but yeah, so they were going up to get reappointed, and they didn't want that to affect their reappointment, so they just had everyone back them up,
Reappointments of what?
this commission.
To
'cause they're
this
already on this.
commission,
Okay.
they're already
Yeah.
on this commission.
But what was I understand that Cami, you're saying that we knew about the outreach, and I definitely trust you in that statement. But what was the outreach? So this was the outreach from like 4 months ago to the other
Right,
commissions?
right, how they were doing outreach to the other commissions.
Oh, okay. So this was specifically about getting on the
Right,
agenda.
to the best of my knowledge, the outreach
Okay.
that they did to,
Okay, I'm sorry I got confused. My 20 questions is over.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm like,
No,
I'm like, to the best of my
I
knowledge,
appreciate
to the-
you explaining everything to me, and I do feel like I understand it now, and I don't want to support any kind of discrimination or anything. I just wanted to make sure that I understood what the letter was about.
yes. That's what the letter is about.
I would mention, team committee B, I don't go to interview committee, meetings, but they did meet. They have a recommendation, that's going to the council tonight, in the memo dated, yesterday. So team B has made a recommendation for a reappointment, for someone on the commission, to the seat. And they're going to relay that to council tonight.
Thank you.
So do we need to vote on this or just
Acknowledge it.
acknowledge it?
What do you all want to do with it, is the
It's already
question.
been done, so.
It depends on what you wanna do with it.
So has already been voted on, you're saying?
Well, no, I just mean like, with the letter, do you want
we've-
to?
We sent the letter already, haven't? I sent the letter already.
Right, you sent the letter with the signatures, to the, council, so. It's up to you all in terms of what you want to do with it, if you want to vote on it and as a group say that you endorse this letter and want to pass it on to the committee to let them know. That it's, you know, as a group, or if you,
I would like to still vote on it that we. So all those in favor say A.
well, I can do the roll if you need me to, would that work? So. I guess my question to you all is this vote would be to do what with the letter?
I mean, we've already sent the letter just to acknowledge that.
Well, maybe, the letter is not signed by everyone on the
Right,
commission, and like I didn't know about the letter.
I'm sorry, Pat, I
No,
didn't. I
it's
wasn't able to
okay.
get a hold of you
That's
that
okay. I
weekend.
know it was like short notice and everything, but like maybe if we all vote on it as a commission, we could update the signature
Right,
to be the whole commission.
that would be good.
I would like to do that. I would like to sign it.
We could do that. I couldn't get a hold of you that weekend, I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine, and I understand like these things move quickly, and I think it sounds like it was important to move quickly on this. But yeah, I think it's with an issue like this, it's important for, I mean, I think it's
Right,
important for
to
us
show
to
that we
vote on it.
stand as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So. What I'm hearing is, and someone can make the motion, sounds like someone. You want to move to recommend or endorse what the letter says as the commission as a whole. And send that letter to interview committee team B, is that the basis of the motion you want to make?
That sounds good.
I think the only thing is, aren't they giving the recommendation like they already
They,
today?
yes, they're giving their recommendations this evening.
Okay.
Mm.
But we can still, even if it's after the recommendation, we can still send it on though, can we? Not, because we said in the letter that we would be voting on it in tonight's meeting.
I mean, I
Ash.
think if we already said we were gonna
Then-
vote, we might as
Then
well.
yeah, then we should keep our word and do what we said we were gonna do.
Well, I make a motion that we vote on the letter.
Seconded.
Sorry, I'm writing this down. Okay, I'll take the poll. Jason,
Yes.
Todd,
Abstain.
Nishla,
Yes.
Jenna,
Yes.
Adrian,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
and Pamela.
Yes,
That passes 6-0-1.
Uh, good communication practices. Do we have a letter on that too?
There were materials in the packet, I believe this was tabled from last meeting. I think there was a request to discuss, good communication practices amongst each other and use that little sheet, that's in the packet on that. I don't recall.
So this was put forward in the outreach committee, and we were hoping to approve it and discuss it in the outreach committee before,
This one's a different one than we discussed.
huh?
This one's a different one.
Oh,
10 thoughts on working together.
oh, sorry.
I think this was borrowed from the city council has this as a working document. And Stephen shared it with us. It's kind of just a guide, right? None of it is like binding, but it's like how to listen, how to seek consensus. How to make sure that when we have discussions, we're not just considering the people who are willing to talk, but also people who might have different views or the ability to abstain if you don't feel confident in passing something. And just having a full discussion rather than trying to rush things. One that I think is important that I am always concerned about whenever I bring something is 7, sharing information, right? Making sure that you get out that information in a reasonable time so that somebody can review something so you don't get to a meeting. And have a long thing they can review. But I kind of like this as a guide, and since it's not anything major. I would support this, it's just even a working document.
I think this would be something really good for the outreach committee to utilize as well, not all of it, but definitely certain parts of it. Whenever we're doing those discussions that we talked about in the last meeting with people from the community.
Yeah, I would second that. Do you want to make a motion that the outreach committee use this as a working document in its outreach and operations?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the outreach committee uses this as a working document in the future and with, what was it called?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
Restart. I make a motion that the outreach committee use this as a working document in the future.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It passes. The city council addressed public safety at its first meeting of the year. Did you all read that article?
Oh, yeah, I actually, shared these articles with the commission, and also with the outreach committee, we discussed these a little. And in the committee, we discussed that these developments seem to, affirm the work of the commission in regards to public safety and helping to steer the conversation towards non-policing alternatives to improving safety. And also the decision by Mayor Thompson to officially cancel the plans to move the police department to be in the same place as the fire department, which is actually in this building, would be in this building, also sort of leaves open a lot of our recommendations to come forth. So, they're all positive developments and also specifically hearing from the individual council members and which ones did specifically mention non-policing alternatives as opposed to ones who said, oh, we just need to fund the police more. Like that gives our outreach committee plans to sort of, do outreach kind of based on those statements. And then the last article about the rising crime rates, I mean, possibly coincidence, it just happened to be on the same day when we had our panel discussion on reimagining safety, but our local newspaper had like a major, was that the front page story, Ash?
Yes.
Front page, bold red color crime report and all the most sensational individual, and not that, I think this, just gives us a good idea, and we spoke to this in the panel discussion. Several people, especially Dr. Armour, spoke to how it's really a misconception that we have in our country and culture that, crime is really this individual violent, sensational crime committed by a few people, and it's the reason is because of a few people who are simply just prone to these things and out of their own personal failings, and really thinking of safety as the absence of this violent, sensational crime really does lead people to think, well, the solution is to simply give more money to policing. Whereas we're really trying to steer the conversation towards thinking of safety as the absence of structural violence as well, which if you do the math, impacts many more people and harms many more people, which we actually did the math in our report to show that the least safe people in our community are those who are impacted by structural violence and as far as being deprived of basic safety needs through our system. And so I just thought these articles both sort of affirm that the work we're doing really is shaping the conversation in our local community, but also to let us know that we have like steep work ahead of us in that like our whole culture really, sees safety as the absence of a few sensational violent crime. And that we're up against a long pattern of, these sort of misunderstandings, and associations. So I don't know if there's any specific plan to regard the last article. Perhaps the outreach committee could discuss doing outreach with the Herald Times or, the people who did this article, or ask them if they're interested in working with our commission to do a series on structural violence and community safety, possibly. So, or maybe not, or maybe it's just for us to be aware that this is how safety is being framed in our community. And certainly, there's some fear mongering happening, which is something that a lot of people mentioned in our panel discussion, as well as a lot of the experts mentioned. The reason for a lot of these skyrocketing budgets of policing are because of, this sort of thinking, not to blame any, one person. I mean, that's just how it's very common in our society to view things this way, So I just wanted to share those, local news items with the commission. Anyone else have comments about those or? I would appreciate if other people see local news items related to community safety, crime and safety, these sorts of developments in city politics around public safety, if you all would also keep an eye out and share them with the rest of our commission.
All right, I think that's a good plan.
Thank you.
Are there any topics for future suggestions for the agenda? No,
I don't have any.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're out of here.
I hope you feel better soon, Cammy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Pat.
Bye.